you a tweet about the interiors of, from a guy called James who works, I think, at BT Sport. I'll find your tweet later, James. Basically said, why does the studio, GB News studio, look like the inside of a PlayStation 4? And it's like, wow, direct hit. I promise to look at that for that tweet properly. I recommend you go and look at our stream for that, because I mean, that was the first thing. It's this dark and moody studio.
Yeah.
Is it a PS4? I think that's a pretty direct hit. It kind of looks like the sort of spaceship that was going to be imminently taken over by an invading force on, Blake 7, if anyone remembers that far back, Doctor Who, take your pick of sci-fi, or a boy's bedroom in the 1980s.
Yeah, or just a boy's bedroom full stop. I think it has that kind of boy's bedroom look and feel, and I dare say smell to it. The bit I don't understand, right? I know it's a new channel, but there are people who are working on the channel and it's not their first job in television. So if people are capable of creating good content in television, and they've hired those people, the bit I do not understand is how nobody was like, oh, the production values are a bit off, and maybe we need to sort the graphics out and the capacity to have OB links and stuff. I don't understand. It's not like they were told to run it with a bunch of GCSE media studies students, although it does look like that.
Well, I mean, that is it. I mean, they obviously must have had a dress rehearsal for this. Here we go. How can
Yeah,
I?
that's good.
What is it? There we go. GB News looks hilariously budget, and also why is it being broadcast
Yeah,
from Mr. Jones?
perfect.
Well done, James.
It's like they haven't thought about. I mean, news is notoriously the most difficult thing to produce by virtue of the fact that it's topical and it has to be done live. But it's like they haven't thought about that. It's kind of like, what bit of this did you not foresee? So as someone who's worked in television as a TV executive my whole life, I'm like, a lot of this was avoidable, I would say. But maybe it was the big publicity thing. Maybe they thought, we're going to go big, we're going to screw everything up, everyone will be talking about us. They know they couldn't make the news by having opinions that were very, counter to what we're seeing on other broadcasts, because we knew that was coming. So maybe this was the way.
I don't know. We see. I'd have to take a bit of issue with the counter opinions, and they are giving voice. I mean, Ash Sarkar described it as all culture war, all of the time, which is fairly bang on. Sorry, Ash, probably should have included your tweet there. But yeah, and that's true, because we're hearing a lot more about the culture wars, and that is starting to kind of hit the mainstream. It's taken a very long time for some sort of sense of the culture war to actually be discussed in a sort of normal TV interview, if you like. It's out from the account GB News Fails, which obviously set up only in the last week, and I think now has, oh my word, 72.8k followers. I mean, that is incredible. It was on 30,000 about 2 or 3 days ago. I mean, I noticed
it's rocketing up, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I noticed they put out a tweet saying, oh God, what was it? Thanks so much for so many like-minded followers. It's like, that is not how Twitter works. I don't follow an account because I am necessarily like-minded. So I felt a wee bit patronised by that. But
yeah.
There's a constant stream of.
There's a lot on there.
There's a lot of it. I mean, look, we said it's inevitable. There's loads of examples of it. Some of them are hilarious. It is a new show. But the reaction to it, so for example, the comedian who did, I know it's Lawrence Fox, but I think there was the Lawrence Fox appearance on Dan Wootton's show. One of the comedians, one of the people that sort of phoned in or zoomed in as a member of the public, was basically showing his arse crack. I mean, you could only tell that because of the mirror image behind him. So there was the arse crack thing. Then there was the classic bogus names. So it was, and I will say these carefully, it was Mike Hunt. It was, so even if you say them carefully, they're bad. Mike Oxlong and what was the other one? Cleo Torres, which in fairness, it's quite hard to find the joke in that one, if you know what I mean. But I mean, so I felt that was a little bit, it was just a bit, there's just something a little bit kind of immature about that, actually. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is immature. That is puerile, but we get puerile, don't we? And this has been, I mean, there has been a lot to play with. If you've got a little bit of a puerile sense of humour and you want somewhere to go with it, this has been a good target this week. It's given us all something to have a pop at, hasn't it?
It's true. Well, this is why I've slightly fallen into line with Dan Hodges' tweet. Yeah, I quite like Dan Hodges. I know people will be spitting their tea out at this point, but GB News will succeed, says Dan, and that will be because of its opponents, not its supporters. So is all the kind of brick lobbing? Is it all self-defeating?
I think all publicity, as you know, Julian, it's your job. I do think there's something to be said for all publicity is good publicity at this point. I mean, they were never going to be a popular launch with a lot of people. So why not go full incompetent and get the whole world tweeting about you?
Question for me is that a lot of it is obviously based on the culture war dynamics. Now, will that could burn out, and if that burns out, the interest in GB News will go with it. I mean, I know that's a bit like crystal ball, and for the moment, there is literally not a day goes by when there is not grist to that mill of the culture war. So it's actually quite hard to see that there is an ending. But then it's a very particular narrative as well. So
And there'll be a counter to this. I mean, if you look at what's gone on, through the decades in every way, culturally, societally, politically, things come and they go in cycles. So I'd say we're in this cycle to stay for quite some time to come. So I would imagine GB News isn't going anywhere for a while.
one of the fun things about GB News is that if you look at their schedule, you've got Dubes and Co, Halligan and Di Piero and all the rest of it. Quite a lot of GB News' schedule is like you've booked a lot of folk acts end to end or comedy double acts, which I found quite interesting. Nobody else seems to have picked up on that. I haven't yet found a tweet on that. Maybe I'll go to GB News Fails to find that out. But I should also be following GB News Wins because obviously I've been extremely balanced about that tonight and quite right too.